On behalf of the Brahma Kumaris, a very warm welcome to you all to Harmony House. Who's here for the first time? Just raise your hands. Oh, good. There's a few. We always like to see new faces. I hope this is the first of many visits to Harmony House. And we also like to welcome all our viewers online. I know, so hello everyone. And today we have a wonderful program about our hospital that the Brahma Kumaris run in Mount Abu, Global Hospital. And we are very fortunate to have the medical director, Dr. Pradeep. And so he will share his experiences of running a hospital and also on the topic healing the body, healing the mind. But before we do, we're going to show you a video about the hospital. Om Shanti.
Global Hospital and Research Center. A 102-bed hospital located in Mount Abu. Popularly called Global Hospital, this haven for healing was established in 1991 in a hill town in Rajasthan, West India, to fill a gap in the locally available health services. Back then, the district's population of 650,000 was served by barely 4 hospitals with 450 beds. To establish this very special hospital, the Brahma Kumaris, an organization teaching Raj Yoga meditation, teamed up with a philanthropist doctor and businessman. In more than 3 decades, Global Hospital has never turned down a patient for want of his or her ability to pay for healthcare. Patients walk in for free consultations by a panel of specialists. A well-equipped laboratory and imaging department offer diagnostic services. Those needing further care are admitted to the intensive care unit, private rooms, or general ward. The operating theatres are equipped for simple as well as complex procedures such as head and neck cancer surgery, knee joint replacements, orthopedic procedures to fix fractured limbs, abdominal cancers, cleft lip and palate reconstructions, eye surgery, C-sections, and other gynec procedures. Global Hospital is unique for offering both modern and alternative medicine systems under one roof. Patients can opt for homeopathy, Ayurveda, and magnet therapy instead of modern medicine, or consult doctors from both systems of medicine.
We started with homeopathy, Ayurveda, and magnet therapy. And our emphasis was because meditation is our strength, Raj Yoga meditation. So we incorporated that into picture.
Global Hospital also has a department dedicated to wellness, where a qualified counselor teaches Raj Yoga meditation. Global Hospital is located in Sirohi, one of India's most backward districts. 1 in 3 people in the district is illiterate and of tribal origin or from a less privileged caste. Employment opportunities in the district are very limited. poverty and ignorance of modern medicine abound. To serve people living in Sirohi's villages, Global Hospital runs 3 mobile clinics. The village outreach initiatives have been an integral part of the hospital since day one. These doctor assistant driver teams cover hundreds of kilometers every week, following preset routes to stop at remote villages. Over the years, villagers have shed some of their hesitation to modern medicine and anxiously wait to consult the doctors.
From the day one, we not only had the main hospital, but we started with the village outreach, healthcare programs for the villages.
In West India, cataract in the elderly is common and a major reason for dependency and restricted living. At a branch of Global Hospital at the foothills, called the Global Hospital Institute of Ophthalmology, thousands of elderly people needing cataract surgery are operated on every year. A few hundreds more are operated on at a satellite unit in the neighbouring district Jalore at the Sri Adinath Fateh Global Eye Hospital. Doctor and optometrist teams scour villages to identify those with mature cataracts. Outreach initiatives are essential because many villagers with cataract have no idea that their vision can be restored. Another branch of Global Hospital, the Radha Mohan Mehrotra Global Hospital Trauma Center, started out as a dedicated trauma unit with a surgeon and orthopedic specialist, but has since brought on board a neurosurgeon to cater to serious trauma cases involving head and other injuries. A dentist, an ENT specialist, physicians, a pain specialist, a physiotherapist, and diagnostic staff complete the team offering essential health services to District Sirohi. The unit also houses the Rotary International Global Hospital Blood Bank, the first private sector blood bank in Rajasthan to have been given the responsibility of a regional blood center. Also at the foothills of Mount Abu lie the Global Hospital School of Nursing and the Saroj Lalji Mehrotra Global Nursing College, 2 institutions within one campus, offering nursing education at the diploma level as well as at the degree level. Students have done exceedingly well, gaining employment with India's premier medical institutions and even at an Indian research station in Antarctica. Shivmani Geriatric Home is a successful model of a place elderly people can call home when they need help in running a household. The 85 residents enjoy 3 meals in a day, in-house physiotherapy, and a nurse on call, and talks and events to keep them busy. The Brigadier Vora Clinic and Jyoti Bindu Diagnostic Center is a branch of the trust in Vadodara. It houses a clinic and dialysis center. BSES MG Hospital is a sister hospital in Mumbai run in partnership with the city's civic authority. With your support, a seed of an idea has blossomed into many units. With your continued support, we look forward to sustaining and growing the activities of the Global Hospital and Research Center Trust.
Om Shanti, and very good evening. I'm very happy to be here today again couple of years back, I was in the same auditorium talking to you about hospital. No one wants to be in a hospital. Everyone wants to be healthy. Well, even the doctors hardly see any healthy people. They only see when people are sick. So health is our personal domain. Health has to be looked after by each one of us. And if you look at the health, it's not just the physical health, but it is mental, social, and spiritual health. The World Health Organization very clearly says it is not merely the absence of disease or infirmity, but it is complete well-being, physically, socially, mentally, and spiritually. So that means well-being is our quality of life. The Brahma Kumaris, when they started this initiative, Global Hospital, I was in north of India at Chandigarh, working in a multi-specialty hospital. I was asked to come and be there. When I initially came, I thought why I left a busy hospital and came here. Because, it's a small place. Mount Abu has a population of us only about 25,000. And from the day one, we thought we need to do something differently. So our concept was whole person care, looking after the individuals completely. Not only secondary care or tertiary care, but primary care, which is more vital, that the patients don't need to visit the hospital. The promotion of health. And that's how we started. And the other was the hospital should be without walls. Like we thought, why should we only be constrained? We should reach to the people who need us the most. So that's how this mobile clinic started. And when you are ready, what happens is people join you. When you start for a good cause, and this karma went on larger and larger, then we added the second phase of the hospital in 95. So now not only we have modern medicine, but we offer people so that they can modify their lifestyle. They can look at non-pharmacological therapies. Many of the mobility disorders like osteoarthritis or backache and cervical spondylitis, pain in the neck, they can be managed by physiotherapy. We used magnets to treat that, and we found very good results. Then homeopathy can be used for many of the things which origin from the mind. Functional disorders, allergies, all these things can be managed by homeopathic medicine. Then we have Ayurveda. Ayurveda is Indian system of medicine which is still relevant today, particularly for gastrointestinal disorders, GI disorders, and they have various means of various therapy. We have now Panchkarma, which is a kind of rejuvenation therapy for people. So it's like thinking of a person as a whole. But one component is mental health. We know all over the world, and India is no exception, people are getting into difficulties. The happiness is vanishing, people are getting depressed, the suicide rates are increasing, the families are breaking up. If we look at what is the reason, and if we look at even the incidence of heart disease or cancer or diabetes, obesity, all this is also related to our way of living. So we looked at this concept, and my personal emphasis has always been that we need to talk to the patient, empower him, speak to the patient, what is he going through. It is not the disease, but what person has the disease is more important. And, the scientists have also been talking about it. Louis Pasteur, who was the first microbiologist, he said it is not the bacteria, but what terrain the bacteria grows. It is like seed and soil. So we need to really go into the psychology of the patients. It's not that everyone falls or everyone succumbs to viral infections or epidemics, but there are many people who escape. There are many people who really look after themselves. So one of the most important things is self-care. We need to be aware of our own self. That's very important. The kind of food which we eat, the quality of sleep which we have, the amount of exercise which we do, and how do we really manage our stress? How do we cope up with the stress? That is becoming very vital. And there are certain illnesses which you can easily, if you look at the anecdotes, we call examination diarrhea, or if someone is a nuisance, we call him pain in the neck. So all these things, they denote that physical illnesses can occur from non-physical causes. Irritable bowel syndrome, IBS is so common these days. So we need to really look within and find the reason for it. How mind can be a vital force to heal ourselves? The scientists, we do know that we do call happiness is the best nourishment. They call khushi jaisi khurak nahi aur chinta jaisa rog nahi. So the happiness and the worry. So these personality traits, how do we really interact with others? How do we manage ourselves? They make all the difference. So what is mind? Mind is our consciousness, what we call our thinking process. How do we really think? What is the seed of thoughts? We call our habits, our personality traits. We sometimes there are certain things which are not even conscious of, we are not even conscious, they just happen. So we need to consciously look at our mind, train it to really come back to the original divine stage. That's how it can heal. Like we know anger, jealousy, hatred, all these are negative traits, and they do hammer people. They do damage our nervous system. They do damage our vascular system. Endothelium, like coronary artery disease. When I was a medical student, it was unheard someone having heart disease at the age of 40. But now we see these cases so common. The tools are available, angioplasty is available, but why should it happen in the first instance? So they have identified a personality, what they call the personality A. These people want to always move in the fast lane. They're too ambitious. They want to accomplish too much in too little time. They are always in race with time. So these are the people. Likewise, they found out that cancer patient, it's only, they try to look at the percentage. They are stoics. They try to suppress their emotions. They hardly express the need. Like they did a study on breast cancer survival patients, and when they gave them group therapy, they got together, opened up, and vis-a-vis the control group, they survived much more. This is traffic control, I think I'm aware. This traffic control, most of us are aware, it's like giving yourself a break. We keep thinking, and we just put still our mind and connect it with the original source of power. So what I was sharing was, they have identified personality. They have been looking at things. Sometimes we say, the mind can be our master. Our mind can be our servant. When mind becomes our master, we are just swayed by emotions. So how do we acquire that emotional wisdom? How do we acquire that self-mastery? We need to understand one thing very clearly, that like the scientists say, there's on one end is psyche, the other end is soma, or the somatic. The soma is the body. Psyche is the spirit. The spirit is the master. Spirit is the one which governs us. Our thoughts, our emotions, thoughts which pass through our mind, they affect our physiology. We have learnt about fight-flight response, and just exactly opposite to the fight-flight response is the relaxation response. Dr. Herbert Benson, who described this response in his book title known as The Relaxation Response, he said, if we can remove all the distraction even for a couple of seconds and just be still, focus on something, maybe a mantra, maybe a point, you can elicit that relaxation response. So the mind can produce that equanimity, and during that relaxation response, the blood pressure goes down, the respiration becomes normal, even the lactic acid level goes down. They have done a lot of research. And Dean Ornish, who's an American physician, he did a study on heart patients. Inspired by that, our cardiologist at Mount Abu, we started the group. Initially, we asked people who had bypass surgery, they had documented angiographies. We asked to come over. We made a hypothesis. If stress can cause illness, then peace and equanimity can reverse the illnesses also. So we gave them meditation, we gave them vegetarian diet, which consists of more coarse grains and fruits and vegetables. Exercise, simple, walking briskly, 45 minutes in the morning and about 20 minutes in the evening, and then counseling. And we found out within 6 months, people were able to open up their blockages. We repeated their angiographies. And there have been several patients now coming forward. When we started the program, we just attracted 5 patients. But now there is a queue of patients coming to us. There are many patients who have contraindications, who are not fit for surgery. There are many who, even after this surgery, don't improve. And there are one who cannot afford surgery. So we take up all these patients. We have certain inclusion and exclusion criteria. And this program has to be followed. The adherence to the program is the key to success. The more patients adhere to the program, the more benefit they get. And the success is that you need to transform your personality, your consciousness. Transformation of the consciousness happen. What we take as granted, we sometimes feel, if we don't get angry, how would the things go along? But we tell people that your original nature is to be peaceful. We give them marking. They have a chart. They score every day how much fruits they took, whether exercise they take up, and they report to us on a regular basis. And people who are just, had no solution to them, who could hardly walk for 100 meters, now they are able to lead full professional life. So the success is that we decide what we do. And stress is a big issue. How do we cope up with the stress? People cope up with the stress. They would either go to gym. Some people, they go to gym. Some people start smoking. Some people resort to alcohol. Some people resort to even violence. But stress has to be managed. Stress is a term in physics, which was originated from physics. Whenever you put a pressure to a metal, the inner resistance is known as the stress. So we cannot do away with the external pressures. They would stay on, but we can increase our inner strength. So inner strength, our resilience, our stability can come only with taking control of the situations. Up till now, the science has studied negative emotions. They have studied what stress causes, what ill effects are there. But now they have started studying what the positive emotions like love, acceptance, giving, helping, they help us. And they find out all these positive emotions, they increase our immunity system, our Department of Defense. The more honest you are, more cooperative you are, more loving you are, more caring you are, that would be your Department of Defense would be strong. They have identified certain trait. One of these traits which they say is ACE factor. ACE means attention, connection, and expression. What we sometimes try to ignore our own self. What is happening in our body or in our lives, we need to take notice of it. We need to make a note of it, whether it is pain or discomfort or sleeplessness. We need to make and go to the root cause, connect it, why it is happening, and then express the need for help. They call it ACE factors. They studied this in hypertensives, the people who have high blood pressure. They found out that people who had high blood pressure, they were neglecting this factor. The other factor which they found out which increases our immunity is sense of control in life, commitment in life, and accepting the challenges. These 3 C's. We are becoming more and more helpless sometimes. So when we master ourselves, the sense of control which comes in our life, nothing happens to us by chance or by accident. Many of the things are happening by choice. We decide our course of our life. So sense of control in life is very important. When I understand every thought which I create is an energy, this energy can be translated into a positive emotion or a negative emotion. Intense thoughts lead to intense emotions. Positive thought lead to positive emotions. So at the Brahma Kumaris, we ask people who start meditation, we ask them to consciously create positive thoughts. Consciously create the thoughts on the understanding that I am a peaceful self. Peace is my true nature. You ask anyone who may be violent, who may be angry, who may be abusive, he also likes to meet peaceful people. He also wants to be peaceful. So peace is our true nature. Likewise, giving is our true nature. We feel more happy when we help strangers, when we give someone something, rather than receiving. I was sharing last evening about a person whom I met in New York. His name is Stephen Post, and he's written a book. The title of the book is Why Good Things Happen to Good People. And he very clearly says that one message which I can give to the humanity is giving. Share, give. The more you give, the more healthy you would be, more longevity you will have. He has studied several people over the years. They studied even HIV positive patients. People who are HIV positive, when they started helping others, looking after other HIV positive patients, they found that their immune systems boosted. Even they trained burn patients and asked burn patients to do their own dressing and give them the positive thoughts. And they found out those wounds healed faster. So mind, if we use constructively, if we use it to create consciously and reach an understanding that I am peaceful, I am loveful, I am the one who's master of my senses, I see through the eyes, speak through the mouth. It is not the mouth speaks. I hear through the ears. I can decide what not to speak, what not to hear. I am the master. My mind can heal myself. And then I connect myself with that supreme consciousness, supreme energy, which I feel empowered. One act of doing goodness, empowers you. You feel that you can do good, more good. One act of having a sense of control in your life, like you feel irritated but you don't express, you don't speak in a bitter way, that makes you better. So it's developing gradually. It is a gradual consciousness. There would be hurdles, there would be blocks. But we need to overcome those blocks because we need to have faith in ourselves. We have lost faith in our own potential. We need to have faith. They say faith can move mountains, but doubts can create it also. So if I decide to be mature, if I decide to be peaceful, if I decide to be healthy, nothing can stop me. And body cooperates. All our physiology, whether it is our digestive system or whether it is our circular system, it gets influenced by the emotions. Like suppose we take the heart. There's so much poetry about heart. Heart is known to be the center of emotions. But if you look after our heart, if you look after our emotions, it will make us more strong, more empowered. At the Brahma Kumaris, we make a conscious effort that what are my original values? What is my original strength? If we look at when we go to temple or gurdwara, what do we expect from our gurus or deities? Do we expect from them blessings? We express from them strength, expect. So can we become like that? We can also be a source of strength for many, a source of inspiration for many. All these people, they did effort. Nothing comes to us without effort. We'll have to make a conscious effort, a continuous and sustained effort to train ourselves to become master. And they call like man jeete jagat jeet. The one who has conquered his mind, he can conquer the whole world. But here we are saying it's not conquering the mind, but managing the mind. If we manage the mind very well, if we manage the mind in a positive way, that ethical living has to come back again. We need to understand that nothing can save this planet except for our commitment to adhere to values. When we adhere to values, when we have value-based life, things can change suddenly. Whether it is economics or whether it is politics or journalism or religion, everyone has to understand that we need to go back to our roots. And once we understand that it is the whole worldwide situation today, when we look at this situation, we sometimes get scared. But there is a solution to it. And I can be the solution. I can be the source of inspiration to others. So in medicine, we certainly have the abundance of research pouring in. That if our mind is healthy, if our thinking is based on values, if we are strong enough, then we can influence the physical systems also. There are two components of our nervous system. One is sympathetic, the other is parasympathetic. Sympathetic is when we are under stress, our heart rate starts beating faster. When we see someone attacking us, suddenly we become alert. Our eyes become wide open. That is simple. But every day we don't face these things. Like the incidence of stress can be for a minute, but the brooding over can go on for hours together. And that brooding over also produces the same result, same stress. So we need to put a full stop. We need to understand that situation is gone. And one other quality which we always talk of, forgiveness. If we forgive people, we heal our own self. If we forgive people, we save ourselves from so many issues, so many problems. But we need to put a full stop. Nothing can go on forever, hatred or animosity. So it's very important that we go back to our original values. We make our mind strong. Mind can be a powerful tool to heal not only myself, but it can be a tool to heal my physical health also. The kind of thoughts which we create, kind of thoughts which we generate can determine our destiny. A thought it can be translated to words, word can be translated to karma, and karma can become our destiny. So spirituality, collective consciousness, doing regular exercise, paying attention to our food, which is very important. The long beliefs or long kind of thinking that only the non-vegetarian food can give us proteins is now shattered. The vegetarian food is as good. It gives us first-class protein. But then how do we really prepare the food? Now these days we call up and just get food in 10 minutes. But the consciousness in which the food is cooked and then accepted, that makes all the difference. Now the science is calling it as mindfulness eating. When we are eating, we should be conscious what food we are eating. We should enjoy the food. That makes all the difference. That even makes our digestion better. And likewise, sleep. If you just give yourself a break before sleep, sit in silence, listen to some music, and then silently clear your mind of all the daily routine thoughts, and then go to sleep. Your sleep would become better. Exercise can really help us in many, many diseases, whether it is obesity, whether it is diabetes, or whether it is hypertension. It can really help us. So we need to focus on these particular areas, and I think the results would be unlimited. The unlimited consciousness would lead to unlimited recovery.
That was a very inspiring talk. Yes, you agree? I was just thinking, Global Hospital opened 1991. How old were you then?
I was 40 then.
40 then. Doesn't he look in good health? Yeah. So it's not just about talking, it's about walking the talk, isn't it? So there were some wonderful things that you shared. I'd just like to pick up on those. So healing the body, healing the mind, a holistic approach. So not focusing on the negative aspects of why people get into illnesses, but really the aspects of what we can do to improve our lives. If someone is in a situation, they've got themselves into bad habits. You mentioned smoking, you mentioned alcohol. Now, in the West, smoking and alcohol is very prevalent in society. And what can they do to just sort of break the habit?
Well, first step would be we should be willing to give it up. Then help can come from any quarters. I was sharing last night that we did a study. Many of the BKs, now BKs, but earlier in their life they were smoking, they were hooked onto alcohol, drugs, anything you talk. And we did a retrospective study which has been published in Archives of Psychiatry. And we asked them, how did you give up alcohol or how did you give up drugs? They said, after meditation, we instantaneously develop aversion to these things. They didn't have to give it up. It just left them. So only thing is, why do we smoke or why do we have alcohol? Because we feel that something is missing in ourselves. Like someone cannot walk without support, he'll need the crutches or a stick to walk. So we try to do that. The only irony is because it is socially accepted today. Tobacco is socially accepted, alcohol is socially accepted. So we need to really correct this. We know that in the long term, initially it may give some benefits. Tobacco can stop your distractions, some people. But tobacco in the long term, 40% of cancer in males and 20% of cancers in females are due to tobacco. And tobacco is one of the leading cause of heart disease also. The coronary artery vessel spasm, that is one of the risk factors. We know it, we understand it, but even then we are not able to put it into practice. But the most important thing is we need to support these people. We need to care about these people. They need to be helped. Medicine can help them, but meditation can support them for staying away from these things. People can give up. The people say that I have given up smoking several times. But they need to continue, stay away, and then this meditation or prayer or reflection, contemplation, these things can help. So the initial effort sometimes has to be supported by the psychologist or psychiatrist or social worker or families, but later on, with meditation you can stay away from it. With positive thinking you can stay away, with your determination you can stay away with it. But the first steps have to be supported and cared by someone.
I understand where you're coming from, because I remember when I was young, it's just that I must have been about 18, and I was with a group of friends and they offered me a cigarette, and I just knew it was something bad, and I had the wisdom to say no, and I'm glad I said a no. But sometimes people get caught up in a lot of peer pressure. So changing a habit, if bad peer pressure can get you into trouble, what about the opposite? How do we find that good company?
Well, I think we are wise enough. Even the young people are wise enough. But the only thing is they need to be supported, not ridiculed. You know, what happens is that most of the time when someone does something, and if we don't support him, isolate him, look down upon him, so then things become worse. But psychologists feel that everyone, one simple thing which can prevent us from going into these things is love. People need to be loved. And if you look at people feel insecure. People feel that they are not being loved. They're not being looked after, particularly young ones. So the love and care and support, and I would say that if they do some blunders, they should be respected. They should be cared for, not ridiculed upon and not looked down upon.
I think we all make mistakes, and nobody likes to be, be picked upon and sort of their mistakes being amplified. I think as you said earlier on, sympathy. I think there's a lot of sympathy that people are looking for. Now, in terms of a holistic approach, I want to have a more healthy lifestyle. So you talked about diet. Some people don't sometimes think about how diet affects them. So if you're a background who's, especially in the Western world, and I would say in India as well now, it's become a non-vegetarian diet, and now seems to be a wave away from that to the vegan movement. What about people who are a bit skeptical? What can they do to sort of improve their lifestyle in the food?
See, a lot of research is pouring on. There are many people who are turning vegan, even leaving aside the milk and other dairy protein. But the question is, we can be our own experimental lab. I would say, please experiment with your life. Stay vegetarian for 2 weeks, and then see the change within you. And when we are trying to change ourselves, we in India are always try to abstain from these things during certain festivals, certain events. So why? Because we feel that it affects mind. So we need to judge for our own self. I feel as far as the proteins or the nutritional value is concerned, it is all established that the proteins from the vegetarian source are equally good, not less. And then the nutrients or micronutrients or vitamins, they're also available much in fruits and green vegetables. That scientific part is taken care. But only we are used to eating that, taste buds are used to that. That we can, we have to change over. And we need to understand that what is not good for our body is also not good for our mind. And if we experiment with our own life, if we try to say, likewise I say for meditation also, You just practice it for a couple of weeks and then see the change within yourself. So it's like evidence would come from your own experience.
Now, what about the consciousness? You talked about psyche in the sumo. Because nowadays, certainly in the West, there's an explosion of fast food. Now they just bring it to your door. But how does the consciousness affect the food that affects our mind and body?
Well, we need to see that why this industry is expanding, or why this industry is growing up with leaps and bounds, because we feel it is more convenient for us. But if you cook the food at home, you try to see that you buy good quality of groceries, you buy good vegetables, and then whosoever is cooking, he has in the mind that he is cooking for his family, for his wife, or for her husband. So that kind of, for children, the consciousness that, but the consciousness there when it is being cooked, the food, it is for selling, it is for marketing. They try to decorate the food. The nutrients may not be good, but the food must taste good. The food must look good. We still remember the simple, what we call dal roti, which is cooked with love, eaten with family, how much joy it gives. The company makes all the difference. And then we at the Brahma Kumaris feel that when we accept the food, we accept the food as prasad. We accept the food in the remembrance of Supreme. And as far as possible, we eat the food in silence. I still remember in my young days, the sadhu mahatmas who used to come to our house, they would not speak a single word during eating. And sometimes when I was serving them, it was difficult for me to whether they need more or not. It was only gestures. So then I didn't understand the importance of it. Eating in silence, eating peacefully, that indirectly means that you are at peace when you are eating. It improves our digestion. Like what we call the IBS, the irritable bowel syndrome. We are in a hurry. We are rushing for office, and we just have a sandwich in our hand which we are nibbling. And then, if you look at all the fast food, it gives us much more calories, less nutrients. And that leads to the epidemic of obesity. So more we eat that, more we get hooked onto that. If we stop it, it would require some effort, but later on we would be successful in it. But food cooked in remembrance of God, accepted in remembrance of God, in a quiet environment, has wonderful results. This is what we did in our cardiac program also. We used to give them food, they were to eat in silence. Food was not wonders, but it was all simple things. More of salad, more of fruits, more of greens, more of coarse grains. That was the food which we offered them.
Now, what about physical exercises? Sometimes we're so used to being transported from our doorstep to doorstep, and we've lost the art of walking. So how can we introduce even simple exercises back into our lives?
Exercise can produce wonders. Exercise can even help you to cope up with stress. If you walk 30 minutes brisk walk every day, the moment you start walking, your mind is changed. Jogging or exercise or swimming or cycling, anything. And when the large muscles are put to use, they increase our blood flow to the heart. And that helps us to wash off the toxins. We go for detox, we go to centers, but if with exercise, many things can be accomplished. And they say that if we are able to do regular exercise, it would ward off hypertension, it would control your diabetes even if you have. it would help you to reduce weight. No amount of dietary restrictions can, you may be harsh with yourself, but exercise is something. Yes, if you have company in exercise, that also helps. So exercise, in a way, it not only heals the body, but heals the mind also. Any exercise for that matter. Some people, they use muscle strengthening exercises, going to gym, but outdoor exercises are always better.
I remember going to a guru's religious festival, and he was asked the question, well, destiny is set. And he says, no, it's a little bit like your height, that's set, but your waistline, that's your choice. So how can we sort of make that conscious choice so that we can keep everything under control?
Well, when we understand the importance these days, now they're talking of waistline, how waistline is the more risk factor for heart disease. Now, midline obesity is being talked. Now, people can be obese, but they can be happy, they can be healthy. But midline obesity is more important, they say. Probably it is related to physical activity. So they say that if you look after that part, you reduce your risk of heart disease. Exercise, exercise, and exercise. And walking is the simplest of the things. But not strolling. To put your heart to a good state of health, you need to have brisk exercise. They say that your age minus 220, the heart rate, 70% of that heart rate you should achieve. Suppose, like my age is 72. If I minus it 220, it comes to roughly 148. So 70% of 70 to 80% of that heart rate I should achieve to have good exercise, which would be of benefit to me.
So everything is a choice in life. The outcome it's got nothing to do with anyone else.
Well, once we start doing it, then we start loving it. It's only, sometimes we say the most difficult thing about starting the exercise is we don't have time. We need to get up a little early, maybe half an hour early in the morning, and we have sufficient time.
I was talking to one of the Kumaris here who's just started meditation a couple of years ago, one of these Zoom babies. And she's coming into really early hours of the morning doing meditation. And I asked her, I says, so I see you coming early in the morning, and I'm thinking, wow. I says, so what inspired you? And she said, oh, I have to go to work, but I want to have that good foundation. And she's discovered that the times that she's coming, she has a really good day. So how can other people sort of embrace that attitude and practice this meditation that we are promoting?
See, early morning is the best time, and that's a time which is my personal time. I have seen from my personal experience that during the day you get busy with the hospital, sometimes certain emergencies crop up, but the morning time is my time. So morning 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. is my time to do my exercise, to do my study, to make my notes, to do meditation. That's my time. Earlier times they used to say that early to bed and early to rise makes a person healthy, wealthy, and wise. And now the science is saying that quality of sleep, 1 hour of sleep before 12 is equal to 2 hours of sleep after 12. But we all have become accustomed to sleeping late. But if we change our style of sleeping, it would certainly help. Because to get up early in the morning, you have to go to bed early in the day. Sleep is one of the major issues these days. Some people get sleep but then wake up early. Some people try to sleep but they're not able to sleep. So sleep is one thing which we need to look after, because sleep is restorative. And if we have a schedule of sleeping, and if we have, we all know the basic facts that we need to have our food at least 2 hours before sleep. So that those kind of things would help us early morning. And early morning, any prayer, any meditative practice, and if you practice Raj Yoga, would be good for you, because this is the time you are charging yourself. Like we put our mobile phone to charge. We are very conscious that it should be fully charged when we are leaving home. So when we are leaving home, we need to see that my soul is also fully charged. I am in a state of relaxation. I am in a happy mood. So that, otherwise we have that story, someone was irritated, then he fired upon the left man on his wife on dog, and then dog bit the person. It's a cycle. If we are peaceful, everything around us becomes peaceful. So if we start our day in a peaceful way, in a healthy way, with prayer, with meditation, with exercise, with nice breakfast, and then we go to work, we'll be happy throughout the day.
Now, you've been in charge of Global Hospital, and you've seen a massive expansion and a wonderful service it does, and it's always nice to see you there as well. But how have you coped professionally, sort of keeping up to date what's happening in the medical world, but at the same time you have to do a lot of administration, and then you talk about that quality time. Where do you get that balance? How do you get the balance?
See, the key is that we need to be prepared. We cannot, when we are under stress, we cannot start meditating. You need to be prepared. You cannot start chanting mantras at that time. I'll share you a simple example. When COVID came, in the first wave, we hardly had any patient, but we trained our staff. We were well prepared. And in the second wave, when the patients started pouring, we had no means to take care of them, but our staff was trained. They were prepared, and they were able to handle the things very well. It is like preparing ourselves for the day, preparing ourselves for things to come in future. Like we make investments. We try to invest funds for children's education, for housing, for our retirement. So this is also preparing ourselves. The long time practice, things would crop up suddenly. But if we are strong enough, then we can take care of things. One of the things which I still remember from many years, that it is not the big things which put us to stress, but it is minor repetitive hassles which put us to stress. A shoelace snapped with no time left. That is what we need to change our mindset. Like if anything gets delayed, we need to use our patience. We need to understand other person's position. We get irritated. We get upset. Getting upset is very easy, but coming back to the same stage of peacefulness takes a lot of time. So at the onset, we train ourselves in such a way that we are able to manage these hassles peacefully. And that is the practice of a yogi. What fascinated me to meditation was, I used to read in Gita, yogi is one who can withstand all situations, ninda, stuti, man, apman, labh, hani, dukh, sukh, rog, shok. He would be steadfast. That is what attracted me to yoga. Meditation is really not important that you meditate in the morning, but meditative way of life. You carry your meditation along with you to work, that meditative set of mind. So we all need to understand that we need to prepare ourselves in the beginning. Prepare ourselves for the day. Collect all my resources and then go to the battlefield. It is like going to Kurukshetra. Thank you very much. Everyone wants to have evidence. Like what impact we are making on people. So like this cardiac the CAD program, we call it Coronary Artery Disease Regression Program. The article has been published in the Indian Heart Journal. And all the figures and facts are there. Almost 85 to 89% of the people improve with and then we did a paper on diabetics. How does diabetes and exercise and diabetes and meditation and diabetes and food, they help people to manage their diabetes well. Then as I shared with you, we did a retrospective study on, and then we have done more, I would say more research-based studies like how does the blood vessel endothelium is affected. So all these papers are on record. We have postgraduate students, we give them the topic and they do the research, both in family medicine and in ophthalmology. So a lot of research papers have been published, and it is now very well established, not only in India, but across the world, because where the sources of more people have done studies. Meditation, as I said, Dean Ornish initially did, now he's doing a study on prostate cancer, how group therapy and meditation can help prostate cancer patients. So a lot of data is pouring. If you think, I think almost more than 800 to 1,000 papers are published every year on mindfulness, which is a kind of relaxation technique. So people are doing work, and it is very well established. And that's why I was in London and I visited the Hammersmith Hospital. And Dr. Prakash Punjabi, who's the professor of cardiology there, we talked, David was there, David talked about epigenetics. How do our state of mind can switch off the genes? They're doing study on that, cellular biology. So much is happening in the world. I think probably a time would come when our positive thoughts can really be the instrument for our healthy lifestyle. So everything, we are as far as Mount Abu Global Hospital is concerned, we are a recognized research center by Ministry of Science and Technology. So we do community-based research on sickle cell anemia, on nutritional anemia, on discharging ER, simple things. But as well as we are using meditation and health also. So a lot is available, it can be shared with you.
Okay, we're going to leave that because time is a factor. So I'm once again going to ask Pratap to lead us into a state of meditation. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Sit straight, relaxed. I am a peaceful being. I understand that I am the master of myself. Thoughts which I create, words I speak, an action I do impact me and my personality. I care about my well-being. I do know that peace is natural to me. Happiness is best nourishment. When I realize my original self, I know this body is my physical costume. My eternal relationship is with Supreme Father. He is my teacher. He is my supreme parent. He is my guide. I draw my strength from him. And I translate that strength into my daily life. My journey to being peaceful depends upon me. I hold no one responsible. But myself only. My original being is in a state of bliss. This is how I turn my physical systems also into harmony and balance. My love for Supreme also reflects in my relationships, in my workplace, I look at each individual as a source of energy, a light, a soul, a sparkling point of light. My connection with them is on a spiritual level. I emanate good wishes for everyone. I heal myself and heal others with my positive thinking. My prayers and blessings are with the whole universe. I give my mental vibes to nature also. My purity, my stability gives strength to the whole universe, and I become instrument of change. I become a good instrument of supreme power. I am peaceful. I am blissful. I am an instrument of God. Every action of me emanates peace. I am the lighthouse for peace. I am peace. I am peace. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. So on behalf of the Brahma Kumaris and our audience, our deepest gratitude for your presence here, and thank you for sharing. So you can show by waving one hand, one hand. Silence is good, okay? And we're going to take a short break now, and we will start our meditation for the third Sunday. It's about an hour. We'll show you some visualizations, some commentaries as well, and you're most welcome to stay. But what I would kindly request that you maintain the silence, because it's the silence that creates the atmosphere, okay? And take away what you've that you've heard, and hopefully some of you will sort of take it at a full. So thank you once again for coming.